Southern Indiana has some of the most beautiful and interesting places that you can imagine. It's just a matter of knowing where they are. Some are very well hidden, but some take a strenuous hike, and let's face it, not everyone likes to sweat. And some people can't do it. Some have little kids and strollers. Some have back problems or low mobility. We all have our limitations. But that doesn't mean you can't see some amazing places and have a good time. There are many great tourist attractions for casual walkers, strollers, electric scooters, and wheelchairs. Let's take a ride and see some of these great places. Starting at Lawrenceburg is a high-up walk above the Ohio River. You can see everything up here. There are park benches where you can stop and watch the boats. A floating restaurant. A section of statues dedicated to military personnel and first responders. And if you walk long enough, you'll reach the casino. There's a parking lot at the bottom of AEP Street. This gently ramps up to the top from the south. Without a doubt, it's an awesome place on a nice day. The town of Madison is considered one of the most well-preserved 19th century towns in America. It has a beautiful waterfront with plenty of places to park benches, and not a single bad view. You can catch boat tours, ranging from a peaceful cruise to a jet boat. A block from the river is a museum that is handicap accessible. It has many engaging displays. And during the spring, summer, and early fall, you can rent golf carts to drive around. You really can't go wrong at Madison. Just west of downtown Madison is Clifty Falls State Park. While much of the park is rugged trails, there is a ramp to Big Clifty Falls. Pretty much anyone can see the falls without trouble. And like most Indiana state parks, there's a nature center with exhibits. As a bonus, park entrance is free in the winter. If you're heading west along the Ohio River after leaving Madison, you'll pass Hanover College. At the back of the campus is a spectacular view. Find a visitor parking spot, and this view is amazing. At Jeffersonville is the Big Four pedestrian bridge. It has a gentle ramp to the top and provides breathtaking views. If you keep going, you will end up at Louisville, Kentucky. At night, the bridge and grounds put on a light show. A few blocks away is the Clark County Museum. And across the street, an antique fire truck museum. Both museums are all one level and handicap accessible. Continuing west along the river will take you to Clarksville. The Ohio River Greenway is a beautiful walk or place to sit. It continues for miles with many nice views. It has a very picturesque view of the Louisville skyline. Further down, at the Falls of the Ohio Interpretive Center, there's an easy-to-navigate boardwalk facing the dramatic rapids. The museum is all one floor and easy to tour. It tells the story of the falls, starting with a film. The museum takes visitors from prehistoric times up to the present day. From a beautiful waterfront and museums, there's a lot to see in New Albany. New Albany has a nice waterfront. You just need to know how to get to it. The easiest way is to take Main Street and turn south on East 6th Street. There is plenty of parking near the amphitheater. You can see huge barges go up and down the river. And the Sherman-Minton Bridge, the only double-decker bridge along the Indiana portion of the Ohio River. Next to the parking lot is a ramp to the top of the hill. It provides a commanding view of the skyline. Along the greenway are many miles of flat trails. You can also park at the wetlands. This trail goes all the way to Clarksville. On Spring Street is the Carnegie Center for Art and History. You can enter at ground level and take an elevator up to the exhibits. There is no admission. I always direct people to the library. If you park on the north end, you can enter through the basement. If you then go to the far end of the hall, you'll see the Yenawine diorama, which is simply amazing. All handmade and animated by one man over many decades. I have never seen anything like it. And best of all, completely free. A drive around the city shows its small town charm. The section along Main Street is called Mansion Row. New Albany used to be the richest community in Indiana. The most famous is the Culbertson Mansion. It's now a state museum. Lots of history, lots of beautiful places, and lots of surprises at New Albany. Historic Corydon has many easy-to-visit attractions. There's the Constitution Elm, a shrine built around an elm tree. The Discovery Center, that details Corydon history. And the world-famous Zimmerman Art Glass Factory. Glass-blowing demonstrations are given throughout the year. At Christmas, you can help create your own ornament. West and just outside town is the Rice Island Trail. It's a flat trail that crosses the creek and loops on the other side. Or, if you just like a place to rest your legs, they've got you covered. If you're spending any time at all in southern Indiana, you have to stop at the Leavenworth Overlook. It is by far one of the best views of the Ohio River. It's the Hoosier version of the Grand Canyon. If you're feeling adventurous and want another great view, take 62 West to South Fredonia Road. The view is simply outstanding any time of the year. As we enter Perry County, we enter a land of legends and impressive views, starting above Magnet, Indiana. This tiny overlook is very impressive. There's also a landing below that's practically even with the river. Along the river at Cannelton is the Eagles Bluff Park and Overlook. First of all, modern restrooms, handicap accessible. And a gently sloping path to an amazing view. It doesn't get much better than this. You can watch boats go up and down the Ohio River. Or pass through the locks. It's a totally free park and one of my favorite stops. Jumping back on 66 will take you through Tell City and then the small town of Troy. Going north on Spring Street and then taking a right on Market will take you to the Christ of the Ohio statue and overlook. There's a memorial for veterans. And an imposing statue of Jesus. The view above the river is incredible. Santa Claus, Indiana has several nice stops. At the Santa Claus Village, you can see the original post office. This is where every letter in the world addressed to Santa is answered. You can even write your own if you want. There's a ramp to one of the largest Santas in the world. And the legendary meteorite crater that was considered a Christmas miracle. On the grounds are a historic church, and a museum that tells the story of Santa Claus, Indiana. Just down the road is Santa's Candy Castle. If you can't do stairs at all, use the south door next to the parking lot. This will take you where they make candy and sell t-shirts. Holiday World is a mix of walking and attractions. From mild to wild. While the walking path is flat, some at the center are very steep. Also of mention is the water park, with an outstanding lazy river. If you're a big fan of Christmas, stop by Kringle Place and the Christmas store. Incredibly well themed, it's like something Disney would do. Continuing west will take you to the Lincoln Boyhood Home National Memorial. The outside has scenes from Abraham Lincoln's life, chiseled in stone. From a humble life on the frontier to President of the United States. There are 2 light sections of stairs, but if you can't do those, not to worry. Go to the left of the building and take the path that goes behind it. This will provide access to the main gallery, museum, and auditorium. Up and down the corridor are displays that tell a story, including a museum. This was made by Thomas Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's father. And this is a sample of Abraham's schoolwork. Inside is a theater that plays a movie about his life. The West Gallery has a few steps and is not handicap accessible. However, the East Gallery is accessible by going out the back door and re-entering the next door on the left. If you look closely at the painting above the fireplace, you'll see a flatboat and a man, representing Abraham Lincoln. He not only operated flatboats in his youth, but took them all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. He's also the only president with a patent, one for flatboats. No one knows what Abraham's mother looked like. This is an artist interpretation. Also unique to the site is a post office. You can get your letters postmarked for Lincoln City. Going north is a pioneer village with reenactors. While the trail is relatively flat, it's made of gravel and not handicap accessible. With some effort, a stroller or wheelchair with touring wheels might be able to do it. Along the way is a cabin foundation encased in bronze. It was once speculated to be the Lincoln family cabin. There is also the Trail of 12 Stones, with stones from places in Abraham's life. There are many steep and muddy spots. I would not recommend it with a stroller or a wheelchair. The path to the Pioneer Cemetery, where Abraham's mother is buried, is about the same. This attraction is completely free and a must-stop for anyone that admires Abraham Lincoln. Newburgh is another one of my favorites, with a terrific flat walking trail. It's incredibly well done. It starts at the dam and goes all along the waterfront. You can tour the pump house or just take in the view. You can drive to the top of the hill for an outstanding view. all without climbing a bunch of stairs. Due to its location and angle, Newburgh has some of the very best sunsets. Evansville has a great walking trail along the river. Inside the Pagoda Welcome Center, you can take an elevator to the top for a great view. Nearby is a large museum to tour, one of the best in southern Indiana. It has 2 floors and an elevator. Across the parking lot is a transportation museum. While the displays are accessible, the train is not. Evansville also has a military museum, African American Museum, Children's Museum, and the Mesker Park Zoo. All are handicap accessible. But maybe you just want a place to catch your breath. The perfect place is Mount Vernon. There are wonderful views along the river, but also gigantic, graceful swings. But if you're looking for isolation, driving to the very outskirts of Mount Vernon will bring you to a very special place. At the John T. Myers Lock and Dam, you'll likely be the only one there. It is way out in the country. And if you turn right on the road, just before the larger parking area, there's a handicap accessible deck. You can see where the Ohio and Wabash rivers meet. Downstream, the Ohio River becomes the Mississippi. This place seldom has any people. All you'll hear is the gentle hum of the dam and water. Traveling north will take you to New Harmony. A highlight is the roofless church, which is fully accessible from the south gate. The entire town is incredibly flat, so there's lots of options. During the spring, summer, and early fall, you can rent golf carts to view this historic town. The Working Men's Institute has an excellent museum and is handicap accessible. There are many classical exhibits on display. Including an 8-legged cow. For certain, New Harmony has a lot to experience. Vincennes is a beautiful city, and there's never a bad time to take a walk along the Wabash River. One of the key places to visit is the George Rogers Clark Memorial. While not handicap accessible, the exterior is an architectural marvel. A short distance away is the Visitor Center. It's not a big museum, but they have a great film about George Rogers Clark. Both the Visitor Center and Memorial are free. TV and movie legend Red Skelton has a museum in town. Inside is a theater that plays a movie about his life. And fun displays that everyone will enjoy. The Indiana Military Museum is a must-stop. Outside, there are vintage airplanes and armaments. You can even get a picture next to a sub. But that is only the tip of the iceberg. You get 2 museums for the price of one, and both are huge. If you stop to read everything, you'll be here for hours. You can walk through a trench from World War I. Or see World War II dioramas. There is an incredible amount to see here. Hands down, this is my favorite military history museum. Taking a drive around town will take you to many historic places. Vincennes has a great deal more than meets the eye. When you drive into Jasper, there's a huge popcorn box at the side of the road. And the huge St. Joseph's Catholic Church. It should be no surprise that the county museum is also big. But it's not just big. It's the largest county museum in Indiana. From the outside, it looks deceptively small, but you could spend many hours here. If it were only the first floor, I'd still say it was the largest county museum I'd ever seen. But that's just a warm-up. The basement is larger than a football field and is literally an underground city. It's so big that a 2-story cabin fits down there. And there is so much more. Antique cars, farm equipment, and a wildlife section. The place has an overwhelming number of exhibits. Plan on at least 2 to 3 hours. This place is epic. Jug Rock at Shoals is a very low-effort attraction. You can park your car, look out the window, and see it. That is, unless it's summer, and all the leaves are blocking the view. Fall and winter are the best times to visit. While French Lick is well known for its historic hotel and casino, there's a water park up on the hill. Big Splash Adventure has both an indoor lazy river and an assortment of slides. French Lick also has indoor go-karts. If you can comfortably fit in the go-kart up front, you are in business. There's also a lobby full of arcade games. Miniature golf, and laser tag. Not to mention a museum. It starts with telling the origins of French Lick in West Baden. It ends with the largest circus diorama on Earth. all made by one man. I can't even imagine how long this took. All of these attractions are handicap accessible. If you can do a few steps up, a free trolley runs between French Lick and West Baden resorts. At West Baden, you'll find beautiful gardens in one of the largest domes in America. The entryway from the west is handicap accessible. Located just west of downtown Paoli is an exotic animal preserve, hidden among the rolling hills. Many people don't even know it's there. At Wilston Wildlife Park, you can go on an African safari without ever leaving your car. This is an impressive place, and the only one of its kind in southern Indiana. The trail winds across many acres of backcountry. You drive through several wildlife environments and see a variety of exotic animals, some of which you may have never seen before. And it all starts at the big yellow sign. If you want, you can also buy feed at the gate and give the animals a snack. Just be advised, these guys have no concept of personal space, and some of these animals are large, very large. Such as these camels and ostrich. Most will move if you get close enough. Sometimes they'll move for you, and sometimes you just have to go around them. If it's a warm, sunny day, look under the trees for animals resting underneath. This place has a lot of emus. One of the tallest birds on Earth. They average around 5 feet tall. They all expect a snack, and some will wait patiently for you to come to them. About midway, it gets fairly steep. Take your time, stay on the road, don't run over animals. More emus. And here's a fun fact. In 1932, the Australian military tried to hunt down emus that were destroying crops. It's what's now called the Emu War. The emus proved to be very fast runners, hard to shoot at a distance, and eventually, the emus won. How many places have you been where you've seen an emu in your rearview mirror? What in the nightmare fuel is this? Just imagine if this thing would stand up on its back legs. How's my camo? Can you see me? I feel invisible. For a fact, these animals have it pretty great. Free snacks all day long. Some might say to themselves, wow, what a huge creature. Yet others might say, I wonder if my policy covers damage caused by animals with horns. When you get to the bison area, it's time to roll up the windows. These are not playful, cuddly cows with big heads. This is a rare white buffalo. Native Americans thought they had magical powers. For a fact, they have the power to take out a minivan if they want to. Then there are the zebras. A lot like horses, but meaner. People have tried to train them for riding, but they usually end up attacking the trainer and are too unpredictable. For those that can climb on a wagon, an up-close and personal safari tour is also offered. Included in the safari admission is the Ruse and Crew Encounter Barn, with everything from monkeys to a giraffe. You can buy food to feed the animals, and here's where the memories are made. How many places can you go to and feed a giraffe? It is absolutely huge and unbelievably graceful. And here's a fun fact. Giraffes are only about 2 feet shorter than a Tyrannosaurus rex dinosaur. Although the safari was great, this was really the highlight for me. Being this close to a creature this gigantic. Video does not capture how big and majestic it really is. You can get safari tickets online or at the base camp building. Also offered are individual encounters with elephants and grizzly bears. You heard right. Inside you can find both restrooms and a gift shop. Wilston Wildlife Park is an awesome experience and a true gem of southern Indiana. Visit their website for more details. Traveling northwest to Salem is a hidden gem off the main thoroughfare. At the depot is a museum with railroad memorabilia. And taking an elevator to the basement, you'll see the largest model train display in southern Indiana. It's a recreation of Salem, how it was in yesteryear. It is absolutely massive. If you love model trains, you will love this. Probably my favorite low-impact destination is Spring Mill State Park in Mitchell, Indiana. While well known for its many caves and hiking trails, it has much to offer beyond that. Near the entrance is the Gus Grissom Space Museum. And then there's the Pioneer Village. The trails to and around the village are flat, with only 4 bridges. These have a very low arch. There's a ramp to the first floor of the grist mill. In season, you can see cornmeal being made. While the other old buildings are not handicap accessible, you cannot beat the scenery. Simply a wonderful, hidden time capsule. In southern Indiana, there are tons of things to see and do without breaking a sweat. This is by far not everything. Some of the best days of my life were spent traveling to a specific place and finding so much more when I got there. Life is a journey until the very end, and every trip a precious memory to be treasured. Believe me, there are lots of memories to be made in southern Indiana.